Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Awkward Season 4, Episode 5, Overnight. And I thought this was another fantastic episode. I was really looking forward to this episode because I really enjoyed the last episode, which, that was by far the best episode of the season. This also was another great episode because there was a lot going on in this episode, a lot of very big surprises in this episode, and I think that this episode also was I thought it was actually a little bit better than last week's, and it probably is the best episode of the season. And you know what, if we keep getting episodes like this, like we did last week, and then one this week, it's gonna end up being the best season, because I definitely feel like this show is becoming much more mature, especially with this episode. You can definitely tell that. So, let's just get to this episode. So, this episode basically was all about, Jenna and Tamara going to, college, basically. They're going to a college party, going to try out for the colleges they want to go to. And, you know, I definitely thought that was very, very well done, the way they did that. You know, you see, they're basically ready to... Basically, Jenna wants to recreate herself, because she's basically thinking... She's thinking, alright, nobody knows me here, I get a fresh new start, I'm going to reinvent myself, and that is what I'm going to do, and that's what she decides to do. She tries to do that, and she's very excited about her interview, basically, and, you know, as I said, she's trying to recreate herself and everything, which I think is very cool. And Tamara tells her their schedule, and then makes her practice questions, and, basically... Then you see Lacey and Kevin, and, you know, Kevin reminisces about his time on the campus and says it was the best 4 years of his life. Lacey glares, and then he backpedals and says, except for the time he's been with her. So, Tamara then looks around, sees all these guys, and she's just like, this place is like a Pinterest board full of bangable dudes to come to life. And she goes, pin, 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 you know, like that scene we saw in that promo. I thought that scene was really very funny, and I mean, that's just typical Tamara for you. That's typical Tamara, and I thought that was great. Basically, then Kevin, but before Jenna can talk to anyone, Kevin gives Jenna a sweatshirt and hat for good luck. Then she sees this guy, and she can definitely tell that she's gonna like, college, basically. You know, he looks like a young Leonardo DiCaprio, so she can definitely tell she's gonna like college. So, she worries she won't be able to get in while her dad points out all the places he puked on campus, which was actually pretty funny. The tour guide points out the lit building and asks who among them is a writer. Lacey points out to Jenna, and then babbles. He asks Jenna, who her favorite authors are. She chokes, he moves the tour along, and basically, Jenna approaches the tour guides, Luke, and tells him about her favorite writers. He says he likes top and bottom shelf too, a sorority girl. You know, basically, this guy, Luke, and her, they get pretty tight in this episode. You can definitely see that she is definitely starting to move on from Matty, because this guy, Luke, is really all she's thinking about. And you know what? I like this guy. He is the complete opposite of Matty. He's clean cut. He's very intelligent. He's very into novels. He seems kind of like Colin, but a lot more mature. Let's hope he doesn't turn out to be exactly like Colin, because we all know what happened with that. But basically, that whole thing, I think, is definitely going to be very interesting to see what happens there between her and Luke. I really enjoyed all their scenes in this episode. Tamara, though, finds this girl who's basically exactly like her. You know, she talks like Tamara, and her and this girl becoming very, very good friends. And you know what? I really enjoyed this girl. I thought she was definitely a very good character. And, you know, so I thought that was good. So Luke invites Jen to a fundraiser his band is playing at, and that's where they go. They decide to go to this fundraiser. And, you know, Jenna's a little hesitant at first, but Tamara says, oh, come on, it's gonna be fun. You know, you're gonna start to see the college life. We're living the college life already, and that's what they decide to do. They go to this party. But as soon as they get there, they duct tape Jenna, and they call her Edward 40 Hands. And I thought that was really funny. She then gets loose, but she's not happy. She says her dreams of college sophistication are shattered. The sorority girls are talking about talks about her sorority, and Tamara's totally into it. She wants to join the sorority. I think that's what she's gonna try to do next season after high school. She's gonna try to join a sorority, and basically, she tells her she has to rush Kappa Gamma because she would be the perfect sister. Jenna tells her she's going to be the fundraiser. She's going to the fundraiser, but tells her to stay. She's worried that even if they get into the same college, there may be no more Gennara, which is really sad because basically you can definitely see that Tamara's moving on with this girl. Definitely. Her and this girl are getting really, really tight. And the problem is that Jenna's very worried that they're gonna get so close that there's gonna be no more Jenna and Tamara. And you know what? That happens, and that happens. It's very realistic, and I think that could happen. And I like that they're setting that up where we're seeing that possibly Jenna and Tamara, they could be ending. And you know what? I think that's a good storyline because I'm thinking that's what's going to happen next season, that they're going to be no more. That's what's going to happen. But the fact of the matter is that that happens to a lot of people. So, I wasn't surprised that they touched upon that. So, Jenna shows up at the fundraiser. She then greets Luke. She cracks a couple of bad literacy puns. He then excuses himself. She panics, thinks she chased him off with her dork humor. He then takes the podium, and he has a very good speech. He's talking about growing up with a single mom. He says literacy programs like this made the difference. And he definitely is a very good character, and Jenna really likes him from this speech. Then we see Kevin and Lacey, which I'll talk about Kevin and Lacey in a second. Basically, Kevin and Lacey, they go back to their hotel room, and he says he needs to lie down. She's trying to keep arguing, but he passes out, face down, snoring. Lacey looks at him sleeping and heads out. So she decides to go to this party and stay out all night. That's why this episode was called Overnight. And Tamara's very worried she's going to overdrink at this point. She runs her interview. She's very worried she's going to ruin her interview. The girl hands her a Sharpie and tells her to keep track. And Tamara marks her arm. She turns and bumps into into Lacey, I mean. She bumps into Lacey, and she's horrified, but yeah, Lacey's at this party. So then Luke asks Jenna if she wants to get out of there. They decide to get out, and when they get out, they then go to Jenna's house to make out, and, they end up sleeping together. And basically, Matty sends her a text. And, she doesn't read the text or anything, because she's too busy making out with Luke, and she's just too busy with that. But, basically, what ended up happening after that was that we then see Lacey, we get a very big scene between Lacey and Kevin. I thought this was very big, actually. Also, we see that when, Jenna is really enjoying college life because with Matty, she had to basically bolt and get out of there and then go back to her house. With Luke, there is no going back to her house because she could stay with him in this college, and she's very happy about that. She likes being with Luke. She wants to be with Luke now. That's the guy she likes. And Lacey's asleep on a bookshelf, tiptoes in. Kevin asks about her walk of shame, and basically he says, we are adults. We're not college kids anymore. And Lacey's very drunk at this point. You can definitely tell. She tells him that she deserved a night out. She also had 6 hours of foreplay with all these college guys, and she needs to have her, he needs to finish her off pronto. Now, I'm thinking that this might be setting up something possibly because we know they almost got a divorce in Season 2. They did. They separated in Season 2 and almost got a divorce, so I'm thinking they could get a divorce in this season as well. I mean, that's kind of what they're setting up here because he's yelling at her about how, she never got those. He had all the 4 years to party and everything. She never got that, so she's making up for that. And I thought that was definitely very interesting. And I always love seeing Lacey's character. I wish it was a little bit more dramatic, but the show's basically a comedy, so I understand why they did that. So then what happens is Tamara is, basically, she wakes up, she realizes, holy shit, I'm gonna miss my interview. She then rushes over to her interview. She looks like shit, basically. She looks like shit. Her hair's messed up, her makeup is smearing, she looks awful. She really does. She's wearing the same dress she wore the night before, and basically it's not working at all. He even asks, the dean asks her about the marks on her arm, so it's not working at all. And she even vomits in her cup. I forgot to say also that she does get a text from Jake, but Jake was probably drunk when he sent it, so she kind of thinks that something's happening between her and Jake, like maybe Jake's forgiving her, but we really don't know. We'll have to see. But basically, it does not end up going well. Jenna, however, gives a very good interview, and the college guy says, we're even going to consider you. Now, Tamara then goes to Jenna. Jenna asks, how'd your interview go? Tamara then lies to Jenna and says, oh, it went great, but I don't think I want to go there. So, basically, She says she doesn't want to go there, and Jenna's very excited about it. She sees a text from Luke, and then she sees the one from Matty. She ignores the one from Matty, and she's more interested in Luke now, so she has now completely moved on from Matty. Matty's basically out of her life now. And basically, she then ignores Matty. She's sure that college is going to be a lot better than high school, and basically, she just has all this confidence in her, but you can definitely see that Tamara's very stressed, because Tamara basically just lied to her. She lied to her about, you know, how things went with the college, and, you know, I thought that whole plot was very well done, because it really was very realistic, how when people go to these college things, I mean, I know seniors who are in my school, who back in, like, December, there's this one senior who's, like, part of, who I've done, like, theater things with, like, in playing the musical, and she was so much, she already felt like she was in college in March, so I am not surprised that Jenna feels this way already. You know, there's always those college meetings, you go to all those college parties you find out about, you know, there's a college fair, things like that, so I'm not surprised that this happened to Jenna already, and you know what, I'm actually very happy for her, because she definitely deserves all of that, you know, basically is happy for once. Jenna's happy about something, and I'm happy for her that she's happy, so I thought that plot was definitely very well done, but I do think it's kind of sad that her and Tamara are starting to fall apart. Matty, on the other hand, I can't say the same thing for him. Matty is, as I said, a train wreck, complete train wreck in this episode, and he's even worse in this episode, he is. When we first see Matty, we see him and Jake, they're in a car. Turns out his parents are pissed off at him for totaling his car. Jake asks why he's always in a bad mood, and he says, he starts to tell him and Jake, you know, he starts to tell him why, but then Jake gets a call, and the moment is gone, and he thought it was Autumn, who of course is Tamara's alter ego, and basically, we get a really funny scene here with Matty. I thought this was actually really funny. Basically, Valerie calls Matty in, and she says she knows his anger and resentment, and, you know, we find out that Matty is skipping school and everything, and I thought she was going to say the truth. She thinks he's gay. She thinks Matty is gay, and I thought that was definitely very funny, but he's, you know, he's saying, he's obviously not, but what they decide to do is, they ask Sadie why she's not in at cheerleading, and she says she hates it, she doesn't like it anymore, she says she can't even do it because her boyfriend is at a Lego robotics competition. She can't even have sex because her boyfriend's at a robotics competition. And basically, Jake's whining about Autumn, and Matty basically decides that him, Jake, and Sadie will have this little get-together, but Eva decides to tag along and says, oh, I'll bring the booze and everything, and basically Sadie's like, oh, you should not have invited her. And basically she says she's not a nice girl, she's always in everybody's business. And the funniest part is that Val pops up and she's like, who's in everybody's business? And that's exactly what Valerie does. She's always in everybody's business. So they're at Matty's place, and Eva's telling this story and everything. Sadie is basically being a bitch to her. She does not like Eva. You can see there's a lot of conflict between Sadie and Eva, which I like in this episode. I like that someone was actually very rude to Eva. We haven't exactly seen that. We've seen everyone basically talk to Eva and everything, but I like seeing that Eva really is getting a lot of bad treatment from Sadie, and as a result, what happens is Eva says that Matty seems very, like, sexually wild. He's very, like, in the mood for sex. But Sadie calls him Matty McKitten, which I guess is like some... I thought that was cute. I definitely enjoyed seeing the Sadie-Matty friendship back in this episode. I always love seeing that. I love seeing their friendship, and their friendship is definitely one of my favorite parts of the show. I've said that before. But Eva says, I can't believe that there's a hot tub over there. None of us have gone in it before. And Sadie said, well, I don't have a bathing suit with me. Eva then takes off her dress... And, you know, she's basically trying to tell Sadie, I'm more sexual than you, I'm more sluttier than you, I'm more experienced than you. And Sadie then she's like, basically the guys run after her because obviously they're very enticed by this. Which honestly, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, they're seniors, so I got no problem with what they're doing. I mean, them, like, tolling the car and everything, that is a different story. This, I don't have a problem with, because they're basically getting to see girls strip and everything, and there are tons of parties where this happens all the time. This is completely realistic. Sadie then unzips her dress, she's like, oh yeah, I can do that too. And then Eva takes off her bra, Sadie takes off her bra, and they're completely naked at this point. They then all go into the pool, and basically, Matty and Jake decide to rip their own clothes off too, and when we come back to them, they're then drinking shots, which obviously I don't approve of that. I do not condone that. I do not condone, and I'm just going to say that right now, I do not condone anything they're doing in Matty's plot. I don't, but I love it. I really do love this plot, because it's really just portraying Matty in a different light. Basically, Matty at this point he passed out. He is passed out, and Eva says, oh, I'll go get him ready for bed. And Sadie says, no, you've done enough. And, basically, Sadie tells him, oh, I'll take you to bed. But Eva says, no, I can do it. And Sadie yells at her and says, don't you think you've done enough? And then, basically, Sadie and Matty have this very good conversation. This was probably my favorite scene of this whole episode, because I love Sadie and Matty. You guys know I love them together. And I think Sadie is going to be the one to fix Matty. Sadie and Matty, Sadie tells Matty to lie down while she gets some water, so he doesn't end up, puking on himself. And he then lies on the bed, and, that's when he texts Jenna. That's when he texts Jenna and everything. And basically, then Sadie comes back with water, and basically they start talking and everything. And Matty is drunk at this point. He's completely drunk, and he is just out of it completely. And Matty tells her she's so nice to her, and he says she's mean to everyone else but nice to her. He tells her she's nice and pretty and calls him drunky. That's what she calls him, which I thought was cute. He then pulls her aside and asks why they never hooked up. And then she talks about how on that New Year's Eve, they tried to hook up, and he said, oh, it was a terrible mistake that I didn't try to. And then when he kisses her, he gives probably one of the cutest lines I've heard from Matty and Sadie in this whole show. He's like, it's like kissing my sister. And I thought that was a great line, because Sadie really is like a sister to Matty. And you know what? I really appreciate that line, because even though Matty is out of it and completely crazy right now and completely just not out of it, that was such a cute line from Matty, because Sadie really is like his sister. And I thought that was a great line, because he's like, it's like kissing my sister. And, Sadie laughs, and then he says, for all I know, you could be. He tells her about the adoption thing, and she tells him she's there for him and everything. She comforts him, and they end up sleeping together. Keep in mind, they are both naked at this point. She's in a towel, he is, in a bathrobe. Eva comes back, gets the wrong idea. She thinks these two have just had sex. That's what she thinks. Eva is in such a bad mood, and this is very realistic because this can happen in real life. And, basically she sees Matty and Sadie cuddled up on the couch, and guess what Eva does next? I was so surprised at what happened here. She then takes out her phone and takes a picture of them. And that's the last thing we see of that plot. So, obviously, something is going to happen here. Either she's going to send that picture to Jenna and be like, here's what Matty is doing, we need to give him help now. Or she is going to end up posting it on the internet or something and make it, basically give everybody the wrong idea. She now thinks that Matty and Sadie are probably slept together, they're going to become a couple and everything. That's what she's thinking. And this is the side of Eva I don't like. I don't like this bitchy, sexual side of Eva. It honestly, I feel like she's two different people. Sometimes Eva can be really, really sweet, like she was in the last episode. Then she's really, really, like, sexual and everything, like she was in this episode. It's really weird. It's like there's two separate Evas, and I understand her. I see her character's meant to stir up trouble. I can definitely see that now, and you definitely saw that in this episode. But, yeah, so I really enjoyed Matty's plot in this episode. There was a lot of stuff I really enjoyed, and I definitely, that Matty and Sadie scene was the best part of the episode, because I love their scenes together. And I'm thinking that Sadie might be the one to, fix Matty. Now, Eva could be part of this. Maybe Eva and Sadie had this plan to possibly, get Matty to hit rock bottom, and then send this to Jenna and say, hey, Matty is in a very bad state right now, you need to help him. I could definitely see them doing that. I could see Eva doing that definitely, because Eva is basically has been a very good friend to Jenna thus far. So I could see her basically then sending that text to Jenna and saying, look what happened, and she's basically saying, look, we need to fix this immediately, because I know we don't want Matty and Sadie together. Or Sadie could be on board with the plan and everything. I don't really know. We'll have to see. But overall, this episode was by far the best episode of the season. I loved it. I loved the college stuff in this episode. I thought that was definitely very well done. I loved the whole Matty thing. Matty is definitely hitting rock bottom, and definitely someone is going to find out. Jenna is probably going to find out very soon. This was the half point in this half of the season. You know, there's 5 more episodes, and then the show probably won't come back till like October again. So we have a few more episodes left, and it looks like next week there's some kind of a beauty pageant for the guys, which I think is kind of cool. Kind of like they do a Mr. Morris Knowles at my school, which is like basically, as I said, a beauty pageant but for guys. Which is fun. I definitely would probably think about taking it and probably maybe doing it in my senior year because it's a lot of fun. It's basically just like to make fun of them. It's a lot of fun. So I definitely think that's going to be a really funny episode. And also, it looks like Tamara's going to try to get back with Jake, so we'll have to see what happens there. But a lot of questions I have. What is Eva's true intention? Does she want to expose Matty and Sadie to everyone? Or does she really want to help Matty and maybe Sadie and Jenna are part of, you know, maybe Sadie knows part of this plan. They're actually secretly working together. I really don't know what's happening there. Also, is Tamara and Jenna's friendship starting to fall apart? I really feel like it is in this episode, and I feel like by the end of this season, they are not going to be as close as they once were. Sure, they're going to still be best friends, but they're not going to be as close as they were because of how close Tamara got with that other girl. And is Tamara even going to get into college? I think Tamara's going to have a problem now because she just showed up to that interview looking completely unprofessional and, you know, completely just not looking like she really takes anything seriously. So I think she's going to definitely have a real problem with everything, so we'll have to see what happens there. But that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for... My next review will be for... Oh, for Arrow. So I'll see you guys for my review of that. Alright, bye.